you struggle in life because you've been focusing too much on pleasure in your life and gaining social status, whereas you should have been focusing on creating meaning to create deep fulfillment for yourself. The most influential minds in psychology went to the same phase as you. So in this video, you will know more about the background of Logotherapy, the psychology of meaning. Logos is Greek for meaning. And by knowing this, you will also, as a result, have more meaning in your own life, which will make your life feel better, which you will be a more nicer person to the people around you and provide more value to the world. For those of you that don't know me, I am Luke Thomas. I'm an organizational psychologist, and I looked at psychology entirely through the lens of how can you better yourself. And I helped around 1,000 people understand themselves better and better with psychology. One of the most influential figures in psychology is Sigmund Freud, who uncovered the unconsciousness as a part of your mind. And he stated that humans are mostly driven to create pleasure in their life. Think comfort, dopamine, sex, entertainment, escapism, etc. You know it. Then later, another influential figure came along, Adler, and said, no. Humans are more driven to create success, get recognition, achieve, earn status, being superior, also the will to power. And then later, what you can take into account for this video, Viktor Frankl said humans are primarily motivated to create meaning into their life. Think responsibility, love, living according to your values, etc. And he created this insight while being in the concentration or the death camps during the Second World War, where he saw that at a place where hope was almost inevitable to hold, that the people that did came out of the camps more than others had the ability to create hope and to create meaning. And you might know this very famous book he wrote, Man's Search for Meaning, which is the beginning of his logos or meaning therapy. And the suffering you have is maybe not because you don't have all the pleasures in your life, don't have all the social status in your life, but can also be a cause of an existential vacuum. And existential means that it has to do with the bigger reason of your life. So think inner emptiness, being really bored and aimless and not having a direction. But if you want to create more meaning in your life, you have to start with these three components. Otherwise, it will not work. You have the freedom to choose the will, to choose your response, to choose how you interpret events. So you don't try to focus too much on what life throws at you, but how you can deal with it and your response. Even in these death camps, when you simply had no control of your physical presence, you could have still control over your emotional state and your psychological responses internally. And that is what some people, how totalitarian it might be, never can take from you. And the second we talked about already, which just can be translated into I'm driven to find something I find meaningful. And the outcome is meaning in life. You will be emotionally, physically more healthy when you have this meaning into your life. What does the academic literature says about this meaning? Well, that if you have it, if you have meaning in your life, if you consider your life to be meaningful, that correlates with higher well-being. Then again, and this is so counterintuitive, that if you search for meaning, the amount you search isn't necessarily correlated with feeling happy and having well-being. It can actually be negative in some places. So what you can take, the third insight, is that rumination, also the search for meaning in your head, is very negative. Active searching through live engagement, trying new things, this will bring about presence of meaning and in the end will make you happier as a person. So how to apply this in your own life? A really powerful question you can ask yourself is, what change would you like to see into the world? For me, for example, that was that I thought, how good would it be if everybody would know their own purpose? And people would be more productive, they would create better things in the world, they would be more of a flow state because they were engaging with work that is very meaningful for them. I thought, if I can create this in the world, or if this changed in the world, then the world would be better. And because I know that this was very meaningful for me, maybe for you that's something else, then it's automatically usually meaningful and worthwhile to pursue. Another question, what sustainable activities make you feel alive? And I say sustainable because there's a lot of things that can make you feel alive. But for example, doing drugs or other unhealthy activities can make you feel alive in the moment, but aren't sustainable. So for me, shooting these videos, having conversations with people of what they find a career to find their passion, that's what makes me just go on in life. And the last question you can try to answer for yourself to create more of this meaning in your life is, what is your deepest realization that just keeps coming back? My realization is that I've always liked to advise people on how they can live a better life. Well, what a coincidence that I'm doing this right now. So if you answer all of these questions and not only focus on pleasure in your life or too much on creating status in and expertise in things that aren't even that meaningful for you, and you create the meaning that you deserve, then you will go like a rocket to whatever is your calling in life. If you find this video insightful, please send it to a friend. He might also need some meaning. And if you're an ambitious young person trying to create responsibility, using psychology to find your path in life, click this video right now.